Curtis, Jamal, my question is, the three suns on the planet Rizq, are they individual suns or are they a triad of Ray, consisting of Atun, Amun? They are three separate suns, but obviously they affect the planet Rizq. These are the three suns where, ironically, everything that you kind of are subjected to in this physical world seems to be in three dimensions, right? And tying into people, places, and things. And in ancient times, those three suns, became known as Utu, Apsu, and Shamash, right? Shamash, you can hear the word Samson from Samson, or that all relates to the sun. But there are three different suns, and the three of them actually direct their rays on the planet Rizq, yeah. And when you start to look at, like the primary colors, you'll have like red, yellow, and blue, yeah. And those three colors are representative of the suns of Rizq as well, and those three are the ones that give you all the other colors, because it's the combination of the mixture of the rays of those that will give you specific colors. So all the colors you see, they're actually vibration or frequencies on a particular hertz or vibration in terms of light, yeah, and sound. So they all have a purpose, and because you can't have any other colors that we can recognize from the primary colors. So for example, any color you can think of right now will be a combination of those three, but there are colors outside of that, because the visible light, or the light spectrum, is going from the red. If you look at all the colors, will go from the red and then go all the way to what they will call the ultraviolet or the purple. And then after that, you're going into vibrations of ether or dark, or what we say supreme balance. Yeah. So yeah, that's giving you why those three separate suns are referred to individually as, as I said, it depends on the culture as well. In ancient Egypt, as you said, they will be referred to as Atum, Atun, and Amun. And then you will have the black sun, or the one that is hidden from Amun, because Amun is the hidden one, right? But then it goes into that darkness known as Anun, yeah? And in ancient Egypt, when they speak of creation and the beginning of things, they tell you that, you come from the waters, or the Nun, or the darkness, or primordial. Like they talk about prime, meaning the word prime actually means first, or the first ones, right? So you come out of the waters, from the darkness, from that darkness of Anun, and then you come out. In fact, yeah, look, if I could just show you this diagram here. If you were to imagine that being the atom, that would be Atun, that would be a Mun, and then this bit here is referred to as the black sun. You see the other sun there, right? So coming out of there, it's a cycle of life, and how things came out of the waters, out of darkness, into the what you call the three positions of the sun. So they will say this is rising, the rising of the sun, and then this will be the center, or the middle point at the highest, or the zenith, right? And then this will be, they say, setting of the sun, and then it will go back in ancient times, what they refer to as the underworld, and then come up again. But that also relates to the story of creation. Yeah, so those three sons of Rizq tie into a lot of things, as I was saying, to do with, what we perceive on the three dimensions. But we know there are other layers to that, because the darkness, or the black goes into a time before light, and goes into the time where once sound came in, right? Because the echo of that vibration is what produced the different vibrations that we would refer to, say in music, for example, where you have the eight notes, or the 7 notes plus the octave, giving you those 8 tones, and the 3 notes we call the triads form a chord, as in the major or minor triad, which is you're taking the first, the third, and the fifth, and you look at a pyramid. Yeah, the pyramid has those 3 points, and again it goes into science, because the 2 points always give you that duality. So you go from hot to cold, or black to white, or do you know what I mean? You always have the 2 sides, but then the middle point is the balance, okay, where you then become the being that is standing in that center point. And then you take those 3 chords, because even the 3 pyramids in Egypt, the Giza Plateau, those pyramids also align with the belt of Orion, because Orion is the belt of Orion is that gateway where you went through to go back to other galaxies, from the 18th galaxy, which is ours, to go to the 19th galaxy, which is Rizq, where Rizq is, sorry, which is Ilion, the 19th galaxy, which is next door. So the 3 align with the pyramids in Egypt, and each one of those pyramids, like Khufu's pyramid, what they call Khufu's pyramid anyway, has a vibration and a frequency, tying back to, like I was saying, the sound, where you take the first note, the third note, and the 5th note to play those 3 in harmony, okay? And then when you look at music, you would have the middle, we say middle C, and to the left, we say that's the bass clef, or the registers of sounds, the deeper tones representing the male. And then in the middle, right, you have the middle C, and then you have to the right representing the female. And of course, the male and the female come together to produce the offspring, or the children. You see, so this is how that mother, father, child, 3 tones. And that all ties to so much things to do with being in the 3-dimensional world. But you have to remember, when you're looking at something, if I drew the pyramid like that, really, you're looking at a triangle. Triangle, 3 points. However, when you start to look at dimensions, you start to look at it in depth. So it's not just 3, because you're looking at 3 from one face, okay? And each face, if you then add the other faces, excuse me, it's gonna become like how if you had a face of a square, and you had the other faces, where you can now say, okay, I'm looking at one perspective from one side. But if I'm looking that way and there are other sides, that means I'm missing information, right? So if you took a square, which is equal to a circle, right, because of the mathematical degrees, in terms of they're both equivalent to 360 degrees. But if you took a square and then made it into a cube, now you're not only looking from one side, but you're looking from the side, you're looking from this side, you're looking left, right, you're looking up, down, you're looking basically in all different directions when you start to look at the points. But each point is 3. Now to get to that, you have to put a mathematical function to those 3 points, where if you look at maths in its basic form, you have you can subtract. So 3 minus 3 is going to be what? 0, or empty, right? 3 plus 3 is going to give you what? 6. But to get the highest, you have to do multiplication, because if you divided 3 by 3, you're going to get 1. But if you multiply, which means to increase, to get more of, you're going to get 9. 3 times 3 is going to give you 9. So that's the way you have to look at things. But that 9, in terms of numbers being the highest number, if you carried on doing multiplication on the 9, because 9 will always add up to 9. So for example, if you did 9 times 9, what are you going to get? I think you get 81, right? 81, you add 8 plus 1, you're going to get 9. You know, you can do 9 plus 9, what you're going to get? 18, right? 18 is going to be 1 plus 8, it's going to give you 9. Try it, you will see it anyway. So the point I'm making is that even though we're talking about 3, as you keep multiplying that 3 to the 9, then from the 9, keep going on a 9 times table, you're going to go to the point where you go 99999, which is 9 to the 9th power of 9, which is the highest. But it all starts with the building blocks of 3.